In the pale light of dawn filtering through the kitchen windows of their quiet suburban home, Ethan stood motionless, coffee cup in hand, as his wife Sophia zipped her suitcase. She looked composed, almost serene, as if she had rehearsed this moment for weeks. "I need space to rediscover myself, Ethan," she said calmly. "This marriage? It's suffocating me." She claimed it was only temporary, a few weeks at most. She even suggested couples therapy down the line and leaned in to kiss his cheek. As though the foundation of their life together hadn't just cracked wide open, Ethan, known among friends and colleagues for his stoic, unflappable nature, simply nodded. No raised voice, no desperate questions. Inside, however, a storm was already gathering, quiet, calculated, and ice-cold. That same night, after Sophia left for a luxury apartment downtown, Ethan sat alone in the silence of their bedroom. While clearing space on her old tablet she had forgotten, he discovered months of hidden messages between her and his business partner, Ryan. The emotional affair had been going on far longer than he imagined. Instead of rage or confrontation, Ethan felt a strange clarity settle over him. He created a meticulously organized folder and began documenting everything in silence. To the outside world, he played the supportive husband. "I'm giving her the space she asked for," he told friends and family. Behind the scenes, he hired a discreet private investigator. Sophia quickly moved into her new place and began posting curated photos of her healing journey, solo coffees, sunsets, and motivational captions. She had no idea that Ethan had already frozen their joint accounts and quietly shifted key business assets into safer territory. Every morning at 5 a.m., Ethan woke up and threw himself into intense physical training. He viewed each workout as the first phase of his quiet revenge, not against her, but for himself. He was rebuilding the man she thought she could discard. At the office, he promoted a talented junior designer and began subtly cutting Ryan out of major projects. No explanations, just quiet, professional decisions that left Ryan increasingly unsettled. One night, Sophia called him, her voice soft and vulnerable. "I've been thinking about us," she said. Ethan responded with polite indifference that left her visibly rattled even through the phone. The private investigator soon delivered photos of Sophia and Ryan on weekend getaways. Ethan printed them but kept them stored away like loaded weapons. Evidence, not emotional fuel. In secret, Ethan bought a sleek new apartment and slowly transferred his most important belongings. Constructing a parallel life she knew nothing about. He was preparing for a future without her, long before she realized the bridge was burning. During a company event, Ryan approached him nervously. "How's Sophia doing?" Ethan smiled coldly and replied, "She's finding herself." The seeds of doubt were planted. 3 weeks after she left, Sophia returned to their suburban home expecting a remorseful husband ready to forgive. Instead, she found Ethan calmly cooking dinner for himself, while 2 divorce lawyers waited in the living room. Ethan looked at her evenly. "I knew about the affair from day one," he said. "I chose silence. I wanted to see how far you would go." Sophia broke down, sobbing that it was a mistake, that she had felt neglected and lost. Ethan listened without offering a single comforting word or gesture. His silence was heavier than any shout. The next morning, he served her the divorce papers. Thanks to an ironclad prenup he had quietly updated years earlier, the offer was far less generous than she had anticipated. While Sophia spiraled into panic, Ethan launched his own architecture firm, taking the best clients he had secretly transferred. Ryan was fired shortly after when Ethan presented clear evidence of professional misconduct tied to the personal betrayal. Sophia tried to gather sympathy from mutual friends, painting herself as the misunderstood wife. But Ethan's calm, factual accounts of the situation slowly shifted opinions against her. In the midst of the chaos, Ethan began seeing Lena, a confident, sharp-minded lawyer who matched his intellect and valued transparency above all else. Their relationship felt refreshingly honest, built on mutual respect rather than illusion. When Sophia showed up unannounced at his new office, begging for another chance, Ethan had security escort her out quietly, without raising his voice or causing a scene. At the final divorce mediation, Sophia learned just how thoroughly Ethan had documented every lie and financial manipulation. She was left with minimal assets. In a measured voice, Ethan revealed he had intentionally allowed her to believe she was in control during the break so she would expose even more evidence against herself. Sophia's own family eventually turned away from her after seeing the full extent of the deception through old messages. Months later, Ethan's new firm won a prestigious city project that Ryan's former company had desperately needed. At the award ceremony, Sophia watched from the back of the crowd as Ethan publicly thanked Lena as his partner in both life and business. She approached him afterward, eyes red and voice trembling. "I destroyed the best thing I ever had." Ethan looked at her without anger. "You didn't break me, Sophia. You freed me." Then he walked away with Lena by his side. Later, when Ryan reached out begging for a job reference, Ethan sent him a single photo from the investigator's file and blocked him permanently. Ethan redecorated his new home completely, erasing every trace of the past marriage. It became a symbol of genuine rebirth. Sophia's life continued to unravel. She lost her job as the reputational damage from their very public divorce spread through their professional circle. 1 year after the divorce, Ethan received a long letter from Sophia filled with apologies and regret. He read it once, then burned it. Unbeknownst to her, Ethan had anonymously funded her therapy sessions, not out of lingering love, but to ensure she fully confronted the consequences of her choices. Ethan and Lena got engaged in a small, intimate ceremony surrounded only by people who truly respected them. At a charity gala sometime later, Ethan and Sophia crossed paths. She looked aged and defeated. He carried himself with quiet power. She whispered that she still loved him. Ethan replied softly, "Love without loyalty is just possession," and kept walking. He began mentoring young architects, teaching them the importance of integrity and strategic patience in both career and life. Sophia made one final desperate plea through a mutual friend. Ethan's only response was a single line: "The door you opened, you can never close." He sold their old family home at a significant profit and donated a portion of the proceeds to a women's shelter, transforming past pain into quiet purpose. 2 years later, Ethan and Lena welcomed their first child, a beautiful new chapter that closed the book on betrayal with life and hope. From afar, Sophia watched Ethan's rising success on social media, haunted by the man she once believed she could easily replace. At an industry conference, Ryan avoided Ethan entirely, his own career permanently scarred by the choices he had made. Ethan eventually released a best-selling book titled The Architecture of Boundaries, subtly weaving in lessons from his silent journey without naming anyone. Sophia sent one last message admitting she had lost everything valuable. Ethan left it unread. Years later, he learned that Sophia had never fully recovered emotionally, while he had built a lasting legacy she could only admire from a distance. He felt no joy in her suffering, only a deep, quiet satisfaction in the strong life he had reclaimed. One evening, Ethan stood on the balcony of their dream home with Lena and their child in his arms. The silence he had once weaponized had become permanent peace. He understood now that the most powerful revenge was not destruction, but becoming someone unreachable, whole, grounded, and free. He had learned the hardest lesson of all: when betrayed, never scream. Build quietly, rise silently, and let the consequences speak louder than any words ever could.